Let's talk about the cybercrime that hits people in their pocket the worst. It's known as business email compromise. There's other names for it too. My name's John Bandler. We're also going to talk about how to prevent it. This is my graphic. It shows the basics of what this cybercrime is. Basically, when this cybercrime happens, it's the cyber criminal misrouting money. They stop it from going where it was meant to go. They get it to somewhere else so they can steal it. There are a lot of names for this cybercrime. Email-based funds transfer fraud is the name I like the best because I think it's accurate. It's based on email, and it's a fraud, and it happens when people are transferring funds. A lot of times you'll hear it called business email compromise, abbreviated BEC, email account compromise. And these are referencing the fact that someone's email account was compromised or hacked or breached. Sometimes it's called CEO fraud, CFO fraud, or executive fraud. Really, it's just theft. It is theft. That's the crime that's being committed. It's also cybercrime, or call it cybercrime theft. And there's also a term called social engineering. And really, this is just cybercrime theft by social engineering. Trickery, con artistry. The cybercriminal is convincing someone to take a voluntary action that results in their money being stolen. Here's what it is in the simplest of terms. Someone's email account got breached or hacked. Cybercriminal uses the information found in that email account, and they learn about an upcoming wire transfer. They learn that someone's going to be sending money, someone's going to be receiving money, and then they are looking to intercept that money. Or more accurately, they're looking to misdirect the bank wire. They're trying to get the sender to send it to the wrong place, the place that it will go into the cyber criminal's pockets. Literally, first to a bank account controlled by the cyber criminal, then it gets moved to other bank accounts, then eventually that cyber criminal gets the money or a portion of that money that they're going to share with their co-conspirators. And then they've got the money, it's been stolen. It's a terrible cybercrime. We want to protect from it. Let's talk through it with some graphics. This is how funds are supposed to be sent. This is the intention. We've got a sender and a recipient. And this is for bank wires and any other type of funds transfers. You've got someone trying to send the money, someone who wants to receive the money, a sender and a beneficiary. And the intention is the sender's going to wire that money to the beneficiary. And we're going to talk this through in more detail. But basically, the hope is that the money properly goes from the sender's bank and gets to the proper recipient's bank. And that's the way it's supposed to happen. With this cybercrime, the cybercriminal intervenes to misdirect where the money goes. They pretend to be someone, they impersonate someone, and the money, instead of going to where it's supposed to go, the sender sends it to a bank account controlled by the criminal. And that's the basics. We're going to dive into it even more. Business email compromise is one of my 3 priority cybercrime threats, but I say it should be your top priority. I have a video on cybercrime where I talk through the 3 priority cybercrime threats. There's ransomware, a data breach, and in these email-based funds transfer frauds, usually a data breach has happened before. And then there's the subject of this video, the email-based funds transfer frauds. I talk about it in my book on cyber law. I have a subsection on it, and I'm going to give you more details here. Let's introduce the participants with a little more detail. We've got the sender of funds. We're going to call them the account holder. We've got the receiver of funds, the beneficiary. The sender wants to send funds to the beneficiary. They have account 1 at Bank A, and they are instructing Bank A where the banks should send the funds. The receiver is owed money from the sender. They have their own bank account at, let's call it account 2 at Bank B. So when everything goes right, the money goes from Bank A to Bank B. But of course, we have cyber criminals. They are trying to steal money, and in this fraud, they are trying to get the money to go from Bank A to this account 3 at Bank C. Now, cyber criminals divide their tasks. So they might use what's called a money mule account. They might hire someone to open up an account to receive that initial payment of funds and then forward the funds along. So I would call that person who opens that account and forwards the funds a money mule. They are helping to steal the money. They're helping to launder the money. And this is how the bank wire is supposed to go. Receiver tells the sender the instructions on where to send the money. So this black arrow represents a communication of what's in this bubble here. Then the sender essentially communicates that, gives that instruction to their bank. That's step 2, where the sender tells his bank or her bank where to send the money. And then if all goes well, the funds get transferred as directed. The receiver gets the money they are owed. Everybody is happy. This is the way a funds transfer is supposed to happen. This is how the fraud happened in the earlier days of cybercrime. So we have the account holder, we have the bank, we have the cyber criminal. The cyber criminal would try to go direct to the bank, pretend to be the account holder, and try to get the bank to wire the funds to somewhere that the cyber criminal could control. The money gets sent, and guess what the account holder says? Where did my money go? You sent my money, and I didn't authorize you to send that money. You, the bank, got tricked, therefore pay me back. And the bank says, whoops, and the bank is going to be liable if they can prove that the account holder was not at fault, because the bank sent the account holder's money without permission from the account holder. When the bank is liable to make the account holder whole, to reimburse them, the bank learns to protect themselves. So that's what happens. Banks would protect themselves, and they do now. They protect themselves with the callback procedure. The cyber criminal communicates the wiring instructions to the bank. The bank does the callback to the actual account holder with information that's on file to confirm that that's the instruction the account holder wants. The account holder says, no, that wasn't me, and then the funds are not sent. So that is a fraud prevention mechanism that stopped that fraud from happening that way. That means cyber criminals had to adapt. And now this is how the fraud happens. And as you look at this, remember that banks have full-time employees with fraud departments, anti-money laundering departments. They're supposed to train their employees. They see these frauds, so the bank knows about these frauds, but the average people still do not. So here's what happens. The cyber criminal pretends to be the receiver or the beneficiary and communicates wiring instructions to the account holder. Now the cyber criminal is impersonating the person who is supposed to receive the money, and the account holder thinks this is a genuine instruction. And the account holder doesn't know about a callback procedure because they're just a regular person living their life or running their business. So the account holder forwards that instruction to the bank on where to send the money. The bank does the callback procedure to confirm, hey, are you really the account holder and that's where you want us to send the funds? And the account holder says, yes, I'm confirming it. That's what I told you. And oftentimes, and banks are getting a little better at this, but for many years, the banks don't even warn the customer about this fraud. The banks don't even tell the account holder, hey, did you actually talk to the person who gave you these wiring instructions? Because the bank has protected themselves from being liable, and then the bank executes the instructions sent by the account holder. The money is sent to the account held by the cyber criminal or controlled by them, and the funds are stolen. The bank's not liable. The account holder, the receiver, and others involved are now left to argue and fight over who's responsible for this theft. Now, to be clear, the cyber criminal is responsible for the theft, but the cyber criminal is probably never going to be caught. The funds are never going to be recovered. You can't sue the cyber criminal and get the money back. So the people left, the legitimate people, these victims, are left to apportion who bears the loss of this crime. And sometimes 10,000 is stolen, sometimes 100,000, sometimes 1 million, 18 million. You look in the news, lots of money has been stolen. The theft amounts are in the billions of dollars. There are lots of variations of this, and it can get complicated. We got the usual folks. We got the usual banks, the cyber criminal. That bank, once the money is stolen and goes to Bank C, the cyber criminal and their crew are going to try to move it very quickly to another bank and then to another and get it out of the country. They're not going to let it sit in Bank C, so you've got to work fast. A lot of times, attorneys are involved in the transaction. One attorney might represent the beneficiary, another attorney might represent the sender. If this is a real estate transaction, another type of commercial transaction, a lawsuit settlement, attorneys, brokers, others may be involved. They may be sending and receiving the instructions about where to send the money, and any one of those folks could get breached and the cyber criminals could exploit that. When these happen, there's maybe lots of communication between lots of people, and sometimes it's hard to tell what is a genuine communication and what is from the cyber criminal and whose email account was breached. That can be hard to tell. To protect yourself and your organization from this crime, here are some quick tips. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. First important principle, have solid cybersecurity. And that's more than I can cover in this video. I have another on it, but some key points. Your email account must be secured. It needs a strong, unique password, and you need to employ two-factor authentication. Otherwise, it's just too easy to hack. And you need to remember the people you are emailing with, they may have terrible email security. They could be hacked. And I'll talk about what you can do to protect against that. I have cybersecurity resources for organizations and for individuals. I'll give you that link in the description. Organizations need a cybersecurity program so that they're doing the right thing for cybersecurity in general and for this. I have resources on that. You need to know who you are transacting with, meaning do your due diligence on them and on the transaction. That will help protect you from a whole host of other frauds as well. But when it's time to confirm the authenticity of the wire transfer instructions, that will help you with that as well. As I mentioned, be aware that others can get hacked. So if you receive wire transfer instructions or an urgent message that you need to send the wire now, realize that you might be emailing with the cyber criminal. You don't know how well secured others are. You want to confirm email addresses that you send to and that you receive from. Cyber criminals sometimes impersonate or spoof an email address. It looks similar, but it's not the same. And here's the kicker. Verbally confirm all funds transfer instructions. If you get that funds transfer instruction in an email, that's not enough. You need to have a phone call. You need to talk with them. You need to know who you are talking to, because cyber criminals have always hired people to talk on the phone and be convincing, and now they're AI tools to help them seem like they're someone else. So when you have that phone call, you need to know who you are talking to. That's why it helps to know who you are dealing with. Make some chit chat with them, know them, and ask if they verbally confirm the funds transfer instructions they are sending to you, because they might be forwarding it from someone else. This is often the case in transactions where attorneys are involved. And verbally confirm all changes to funds transfer instructions. So if you verbally confirm the first funds transfer instruction and now you get a change to it, especially if it's an urgent change and the wire needs to be sent today, you must verbally confirm that change. And your antenna should be up, because that is a common way this fraud is committed, where instructions have already been sent and now the cyber criminal steps in with a change and the money needs to be sent immediately. Here are some important takeaways. This is a prevalent, pernicious cybercrime theft. It is devastating. People can lose their life savings. Prevent it. We need awareness of it. Hopefully this video gave you that. You want to protect against all types of cybercrime with good cybersecurity, and that will help you with this crime, and make sure you verbally confirm payment instructions. For a deeper understanding, see my additional resources. I have an article just on this fraud. I've got more tips to prevent it. I have a cybersecurity landing page. I've got resources for individuals and organizations, and I have a number of concepts that can help anybody learn about and apply good cybersecurity principles for the home, for your family, for your organization. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment and ask a question. This is my reference slide. I'll also put these references in the description with links to other videos and resources on my website, including my do-it-yourself cybersecurity program. It's free. Thanks again. Take care.